Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay.
A little bit of land goes a long, long way. If you believe fracking is okay, a little bit of land goes a long, long way. Sign the lease, bring the rigs today. Everybody say money,
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall overnight sensation.
Welcome to the Chop, Season 14, Episode 14. How nice is that? It's another non-elimination episode. Let's give a clap to productions. Let's have someone give the claps to production, because I don't know, they had an incredible bunch of queens and they fucked up the entire season. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know. I'm trying my best to cope with it. That's why we're here every Sunday, to cope with this. We're all finishing the season with PTSD. Anyway, let's greet the chat as usual. We have Blazing, Mertzana, Nora, Insulin Dependent Skank, Sasha, Sen, Pau Pau, Actor, Emily, Double O, Make Duff, Christos, David Sending, JW, Leticia, Zaiba, Trisha's number one stan, Quadonte, Ari, Luisa, SJ, Koshoba, Fulani, Gregory Guerra, Orchidude, Zoe, George, Ferret Fair, Deborah, Maria Bland Torres, Jules, Elizabeth Johnson, Clarissa, Delta Schlin, Martin Sullivan, Dean Ali, okay, and everyone else that just joined. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, good lord, what a week. So, last week I promised you that I would publish the episode, like episode 12 and episode 13, and I haven't published anything, but there's a very simple answer for that. I am completely burned out. I am really burned out. Usually I do this show with a little bit of help from my sweet, sweet tender love, who kind of refused to continue to help for the past month and a half. And I overworked. I just overworked. I am completely burned out. I cannot seem to sit. When I have free time, I basically feel destroyed, and I cannot sit down at editing. I hope, I don't know, that things will change, that I will publish this video or at least start doing something. But let me tell you something. Next time I'm going to think twice before going over the limit, because it looks like you can easily deal with it, but when you actually reach your down, you cannot get up. You just cannot get up. It's like you are always tired. I don't understand this. Yeah, maybe I should eat a dragonfly. That will sure solve all of my problems. Why not? Christos, what happened to Widow's Court thinging? She pleaded an Alford plea, which is basically a way of saying, listen, I know it's a kind of guilty plea. It's a way of saying, listen, people, I know that if we go to court, I won't be able to defend my innocence. I will be like 99% guilty. So I accept a guilty punishment, but I will not admit that I am guilty. So it's a way to find a middle way, because sometimes you do have cases in which, like this used to happen a long time ago when we didn't have DNA, for example, when people who got usually convicted then turned out they were completely innocent. So I don't know if that's how this thing came about. I'm not an expert in American law, but it's a way to find a middle way. It's a way to say, I know that I have, I will be proven guilty if we go to court, and I will not admit that I am guilty, but I will take the punishment for it. I don't know what to think about it. Each and every one of you has to make their own mind about the situation. I was hoping for a court case so that we could see clear and have some more or less definitive answers, because the thing is very obfuscated. It's not really, well, of course, if there are people willing to point fingers at whatever all of the time, but for me it's difficult to say yes, this is bullshit, or no, this could be credible. I'm not so quick to judge, and I think it's important to always give the benefit of the doubt, no matter what. Then of course different people have different measures of what they consider the benefit of the doubt, so that's really on you. I was hoping for a case to actually come out and express an opinion on it, but I would prefer to just leave it at each and everyone's conscience. Tara, $1.99, thank you so much. I'm here on time, kind of. Don't worry, I'm late as well. I am late as well. One way or the other, we're going to get to the end of this season. So even though I'm not, I haven't published the last 2 episodes, I will be here on Livestream. I mean, this is our time. This is our thing. So live streams are untouchable. Live streams are easy. Jules, sorry about your burnout. I understand. I deal with chronic depression and mood disorder. It's hard. Well, it's nothing like your situation. It's definitely not as serious. It's just that you just feel, once the down hits, you just feel tired all of the time. It's amazing. That's probably why my partner bought me a 1.5 liter bottle of liquid energy for tonight. I mean, I know that he didn't find the cans, but it's like I'm getting a heart attack just looking at it. Okay, so let's begin with this review. I don't know what we are even reviewing anymore. It's another non-elimination episode. So I don't know. I guess we're just here to cope with the trauma. So as usual, let's do the review. After that, we'll have our key time. We can talk about whatever. I don't know if I will be awake for that, but we'll do our best. Super chats if you want to support the channel. We also have a Patreon for that. Comments at top RPDR videos. They will be highlighted for me. And from time to time, I'll go back and try to catch up on them. I will definitely miss some. That's inevitable. But I'll try to do my best. Sen, sorry you're burned out. I can understand. Yes, I know. Jules, I also deal with depression and major anxiety issues. Well, it's nice that we all feel normal. We all have a little bit of something. I'm not comparing. It would be disrespectful, but at least we're not alone. We are all fucked up in some sort of way. Air Tempest, don't you love how literally 50% of the episodes are non-elimination? Yes, it's in my introduction. I haven't done it yet, but it's in my introduction. Mertzana, I'm a teacher. I do know what burnout feels like. Please take care of yourself. So happy you have a partner to rely or not rely on, because he didn't do the confessional chart for like 2 months. Fantasia D15, thank you for coming. Okay, let's begin. Welcome to the shop, and in this episode we have the top 5, and it's another non-elimination episode. The 7th non-elimination episode in a season of 14 episodes. That is exactly 50%. So I don't know why we still call it a competition. I guess it's like wishful thinking. Then we have a ton of emotional porn with Rochelle before rehearsal, after rehearsal. It's like emotional porn all over. Then the queens will film the music video for Catwalk featuring RuPaul with it living a French vanilla fantasy, actually, as a cameraman. You all know what I think about that. Then we have a little bit of some last critiques, the lip sync, and some final thoughts on the season, the top 5, and who is going to win. That's a nice question. So, we are back in the workroom. Georgina and Deja have just been sent home in the best lip sync of the season. I won't accept any compromises on that. That was the best lip sync for the season. I lived my life. I wanted to make a little bit of a parody of it, but as you guessed it, I haven't published much lately. Nevertheless, they just went home. We have a prophetic confessional from Diabetes saying that we cannot have 7 people in the finale. Turned out we have 5. They fucked it up big time. Then we have Bosco rehashing her mini redemption story arc, with the chocolate bar and falling and then winning. Yes, that's what we're getting. And then we have a voiceover from Angeria. This is about fighting to be in the top 4 because they're still in the fantasy that there's going to be a top 4. And once you watch the whole episode and then rewatch it, you start realizing, wait a second, Angeria is making a voiceover and there is footage of Willow, like Willow preparing. And this scene goes on for like 20 seconds. And I'm like, oh shit, we should have seen it coming. The hints were all there. But at this point, when I was first watching, I was full on in my fantasy. I mean, I made my calculation and thought, okay, probably they're going to send home Diabetes. Willow and Angeria will surely be in the top 4. There's not even a hint of doubt about that. I was still in that fantasy. So I didn't catch this hint that they left in there. So it's a new day in the workroom, and RuPaul announces the Maxi Challenge. Now, we have no mini advertisement, of course. Stuart Beaver never came back. The woman from, what was her name? Norvina paid for only one advertisement last episode, so we don't have any mini advertisement. Instead, Ru announces immediately the Maxi Challenge. It will be filming the music video for Catwalks, which means the queens will have to write and record lyrics. They will have to design a catwalk couture, and at this point I was thinking, where are they going to find the time to do all of this? But don't worry, they won't actually make the outfit. Production will take care of making the outfit, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because these queens are destroyed. This is literally episode 14. In their time, this is probably week 5, maybe week 6 of filming. They are probably destroyed. So as much as I like the queens making outfits and see them go from scratch and even changing their mind and making things work, I like all of that, but I'm not going to impose it. They are probably destroyed. So it's a good thing that production did that. Then after that, they will have to rehash their trauma and storyline with Rochelle, because I guess the podcast is no more. What was the name of the podcast? It was like, where's the tea? Where's the tea? What's the tea? There's no tea. There's just no tea. There is an edit of RuPaul somewhere saying that she would hit kids with disability. I don't know who made that, but I'm sure it was an edit. She didn't really say that, even though it's gaggy to think that she might have. Then after that, they will also have to learn a choreo. They will also have to film the music video. So they have to do a ton of shit. Long story short, good thing they don't have to make the dress. Now, we have a small scene with the queens writing the lyrics, or maybe pretending to write the lyrics, I don't know, and designing the outfit. Now, if you look at the drawings, these designs are very... they are very... How can you say? It's like a skeleton design. There is not much in there. You can tell that once you see the sketches and you see the actual outfit, you start to realize that the designers who actually made that dress put a ton of themselves into. they did most of the work. I mean, the design had the very, very basic idea. There was not much details going on in there. So the designers really did most of the job for me. So I don't know how to judge them on this. Chat, what do you think? D15, I couldn't with the Camden Brothers storyline that Michelle was like, oh yes, we're going to talk about that. Don't worry, I have it here on the notes. Tukia, the reunion is also a non-elimination episode. That means that we have 8 non-elimination episodes of a 16-episode season. This is insane. Yeah, I think last season we got 7, if you take into account the Rona special. I don't remember exactly. It wasn't 50%. That I can tell you. It was like 40-something. Christos, the moment Angeria and Willow said they are friends, I immediately knew they were going to lip sync for the drama. I didn't have a clue. I was that naive. I don't know if it's because I'm kind of out of it at this point. I still didn't have a clue. Jules, when Willow started doing scat, I love Willow. Her Tempest, the way that season 8 had the same number of non-finale episode as this season has non-elimination episode, if you include the reunion. It's shocking. But then, that's all the difference between Logo and VH1. Damien, I'm pretty sure you made that edit. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Do you think June Jambalaya will be eliminated then? She was on this season? I had no idea. I had no idea. Thalia, Willow was very silent in the Untucked. Yeah, I have almost no memories of the Untucked. Air Tempest, we had 1, 2, 3, 8, 14, 15. 6 excluding... So, I was right. 7 including the COVID special. Good. No, I said the dreaded words. Let's see if we are still... if YouTube doesn't kill the live stream. Okay, so let's move on to the main stage because it's time for some emotional porn with RuPaul and Michelle Visage, and this is going to be a real treat. So first up is Bronco. Now, Bronco has the storyline of the virtue of dying to your old self and then be reborn into what you are supposed to be. You can tell that Mamoru was born a therapist. In the 1920s, probably. So Bosco rehashes her storyline. Then it's Daya's turn. Now, for Daya, she has to talk about going past looking like Crystal and becoming herself. And I'm like, gosh, we didn't see that coming, did we? It's like... nobody suggested that storyline at all, but this is what we are here to do. This is a moment to rehash storylines and make some good old quality emotional porn, and this is exactly what we are going to do. Now, since this little storyline didn't really go anywhere because it wasn't as successful as maybe production hoped that it was, we have to have a little bit of diabetic talk, because why not? You have an illness. Good. Take it here. Mamoru is thirsty for your trauma. So, of course, we have a little bit of a talk about it. There is no... what can I say? There is no... It looks like there is no real interest in the issue. It's like they are very clear about it. It's like they have diabetes, who has diabetes. And so, okay, talk about your struggles because we need to show it for television. And then that's it. There is no awareness. There is nothing. It's just for the clicks and the engagement. And the views. So I don't know when RuPaul's Drag Race turned into a teen drama, but this is what we are going to get served. And let me tell you something. By the look of Michelle, it looks like it's not even their idea. It looks like RuPaul, yes, I know how it sounds, but it looks like RuPaul and Michelle are told to do this kind of shit. This is the feeling that I had. I mean, I'm all in for Mamoru being this strange kind of monster that feeds on people's trauma and people's tear. I mean, it's a nice fantasy. It's nice to get high thinking about it. And she's also a producer, so maybe RuPaul is half and half. Michelle, she looked genuinely embarrassed. She looked genuinely embarrassed to me. We're going to talk about it. So it's Angie's turn. And Angie doesn't have much emotional porn to show because she's asked about her family and her drag family, but there is nothing going on. She is completely fine. She had her difficulties, but other than that, she has a supporting family and a good drag family. So her segment is especially short. And then we move on to the real meat, Willow and Lady British. Now, we have first Willow, and Mamoru is like in full force. It's like emotional porn. It's an emotional porn galore. So cue leading questions, cue the emotional music. Camera one is ready. So let's go. Let's go. So of course, they ask her about her illness. They name their illness, which is strange because they kind of carefully try to never name it. Willow was the one that named it. And I don't know what they were expecting, but the feeling that I have is that Willow's answer was not enough because at some point we have Michelle doubling down with more questions about the impact of her illness. And then Michelle pretending to be actually interested. I don't have it here, but I have a screenshot of Michelle looking as if she is taking a shit. She looks like she's taking a shit. So, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. She looks like genuinely embarrassed to having to ask this kind of thing. But then again, there is not much else going around it. It's just, you have trauma, please air it for the camera. This is what we are doing in here. You get a couple generic words of support and that's it. Wait, you have no trauma? Nothing to talk about. And then comes the real shocker. Lady British. So, Mamoru comes in full force and she asks her, have you changed in this competition, Lady British? She's kind of trying to bring her to, talk about her storyline. Do you remember in season 13, Simone? Simone was very good with this. She picked up immediately what the game was all about. She was professional. She understood the storyline thing. So when we had the same segment with Simone last season, she immediately picked up on Ru's leading questions and actually, rehashed her storyline, which is a good thing. But we don't see Lady actually doing it, which is kind of strange. I'm like, why she's not doing that? Well, because she knows what's going to come next. She knows what's going to come next. So, Michelle asks her about her siblings, and this is not just a random question. It's not a random question at all. So, we find out that her brother is not with us anymore. So, again, you have camera one ready, you have cue for the emotional music, cue the fake and empathetic noises and expressions from Michelle. I mean, there is a moment in which I invite, even if you're not an expert, look at Michelle's body language, for God's sake. She has this forced, empathetic smile on her face. She has her arms closed. She is holding her hands. She has her legs crossed upon each other's. She is like saying, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I am 100% closed. I am not open to empathize or connect with this situation at all. Now, I don't know if it's because Michelle is a piece of shit or just because she was very embarrassed by the situation. I like to think it's the second one. Because remember, apart from what we see in the show, Michelle is one of the few people in the panel of judges who actually has a history of being very supportive of the girls outside of Drag Race. It's like the exact opposite of what Mamoru does. Mamoru is like, cameras are not rolling, I don't even know your name. And Michelle is the exact opposite. So I like to think that she's very embarrassed that they have to go all of this. And basically, let me use the right word, basically exploiting people's trauma just for the views, because it's just on the surface. It's just exposition. There is no real awareness, no real talking, no real support. I mean, you can do this in the show. Just bring an expert, like an actual expert that can have a talk with the queens and contextualize everything. Because when you do it like this, you're basically opening a door, leaving it open and not even caring to close. So I don't know the emotional state of these queens once they leave the main stage. I have no idea. I have no idea. Needless to say, I mean, I decide to laugh about this. But it's kind of sad in a way. It's kind of sad. So I don't support this as much as I don't really support the talk to your younger self, but it's not as bad as this one. It's not as bad as this one. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have very strong opinions. On this kind of thing. Christos, with every tier of drag queen during the show, Mamaro's fracking gains more value. It's like a catalyst for fuel. Mertzana, are we expecting top 6 in the finale next season? Next season, the finale will be the top 15. Spicy Icy, I also had the feeling Rochelle had to talk about all of this. For me, it showed in their faces, they were just there. Yes, that's the point. That's the point. I mean, it was fine when they used to only rehash their storylines. It made complete sense. I didn't enjoy it, but I do understand it. And I do understand that it has a place in entertainment. But this, it's like America's Next Top Model level of bullshit. Insular Independent Skanked. It looked like Maru was drooling over Willow, Bosco, and Lady's storyline. She was so excited. Yeah, and talking about Lady's storyline, this is something that I forgot to tell you, because basically Michelle opened the conversation by asking Lady about her siblings. Now, once she does that, we have a confessional from Lady, and that confessional is like from episode 1 or episode 2. I haven't tracked it down, but you know, looking at the growth of her hair and comparing it, I probably have it in the video with the direct comparison. She talked about this very, very early on in the season. Production knew exactly, even if they didn't find out with her background check. She's the one who talked about it in the beginning of the season. So now is everyone really trying to tell me that the question that Michelle asked was out of nowhere, that it just happened by chance, that she asked her about their siblings, when they had a confessional of Lady talking about this exact issue? And they kept us in the dark throughout the whole season only to have this moment right here, right now. It's kind of curious, isn't it? Jules, going by trauma, they might place Lady and Willow in the top 2. I felt really sad and actually cried for Lady Camden because of her brother's death. Yeah, it is a sad issue. I mean, I don't pretend to actually understand what she has to go through. I have no idea. I can imagine it, but it's not like I can easily picture what it means like that. What I can tell you for sure is that that's not the setting for talking about this kind of thing, as if you're talking about, oh, what are you going to wear tonight? What are you going to order for dinner? It's like, it takes the dignity out of the issues to talk about them in this kind of way for me. I don't know. Sometimes I do prefer silence. So, let's move on. It's a new day in the workroom. The dresses for the drag queens are ready. So, apparently production paid for them, which is really good. And today they will have to learn the choreography and immediately film the music video afterwards. Don't forget that they won't just film in the outfits that they're currently on. They will also have to go back, change, and wear other outfits, and then come back and film a little bit more. So there is a lot about this challenge that we don't actually see. At least we don't see the rehearsal for that. But Miguel is here as a choreographer, so I am very happy about it. Because it's not Todrick, so it's still a good thing. Although for the final episode, I would have liked Jamal. Jamal is like a Drag Race legend at this point. He is the choreographer. So, you know, why is Jamal not there? I mean, no shade to Miguel. I like him. It's just that I grew accustomed to Jamal. I liked him. So we see Angeria struggling. Michelle commenting on it. Then we have confessionals of Angeria's. We have confessionals from Willow. By this point, I started to think, well, they might really put Angeria in the bottom. Because out of all of Queens, and we see all of the Queens rehearsing. We see them rehearsing as groups. We see them doing their solo number. We see them doing the group number afterwards when they filmed the whole video. And Angeria is the only one shown struggling, and she doesn't really have a redemption moment overall. So by this point, I was thinking, okay, something definitely smells like shit. But maybe, they're just trying to make some drama. Let's put Angeria in the bottom for the drama. I didn't really think she had a chance to go home at all. And I still didn't have any idea they would put Willow in the bottom. I don't know. I mean, they're going for shock value. They're going to they are reaching so hard for shock value that the season makes no sense anymore. It really makes no sense. I mean, I don't have a problem with a predictable drag race if it's entertaining, if it makes sense, if it's consistent. But when it's like twists and turns just for the sake of surprising the viewers, I mean, yeah, maybe in the moment it can be interesting, but would you seriously rewatch it? And I don't know. We'll talk about it later on when we go with a little bit of final thoughts on the season. Orchidude, how fierce is Diabetes taking Michelle's advice to Angeria and applying it to herself? That was gaggy. When Diabetes came out and said, "Oh my god, you're not crawling," then I'm going to crawl. It's too good to leave behind. I'm going to do it. It's Heather. It's Heather. That's exactly what I came to expect. Matthew, it looks like Angeria was just burned out and was ready for it to end. She looked like she was out of it. I will agree on that. She looked like she was tired. So I don't know how long all of these lasted, because in the timeline of the episode, it looks like they did everything in 2 days. Now, don't forget that apart from all of this, they also had to write the lyrics and record the lyrics, and that is something that also takes time. Now, when we saw them in the workroom, they were not only writing lyrics, they were also preparing the outfit. So I would be comfortable in saying that at this point, they probably filmed for at least 3 days. And on top of that, then there will be more days for the runway and the final critiques and the lip sync. So I would say they probably filmed this episode in the course of 4, maybe even 5 days, considering that the outfit had to be made from scratch. So they needed to actually hire something. They needed probably to discuss with the queens how did they like to implement the idea. So I would confidently say that probably this episode took a good 5 days. D15, Diabetes said she was listening to Michelle's advice. She just saw a bug on the runway and tried to eat it. Daniel Harris, do you think they filmed recording the verses? No, because Bosco is the hero of the season, and so since she is really bad in singing, it would be counterproductive to actually show her completely bombing the lyrics. The Tails Gamer, honestly, I'm surprised no one else was tired. Well, now that you say it like that, kind of me too. Damien, RuPaul production gave the queens a nap. I hope so. I hope that maybe it went on for a week and they just had a couple of days in between to rest, or at least not to run, because Chad Michaels was not lying when he said that this is a race. This is not just called Drag Race, it's a fucking race. Of course, it's nowhere as bad as Down Under or UK Season 3, but I mean, 5 weeks, 14 episodes, it's still a hell of a ride. So, it's the last day in the workroom. Nothing really special happens in here. We have no mirror moments. The queens are kind of rehashing their storyline. They are reminiscing about the whole season. It feels like the season started like 5 years ago, and in their time, it's probably like 5 weeks. But it does feel like 5 years. So, yeah, there is not much going on apart from Willow and Angeria talking about their friendship. And they have like a whole segment. It goes on for 1 or 2 minutes of Angeria and Willow talking about their relationship. So after seeing the rehearsal, after seeing everything that was going on, I was still in the fantasy that nothing was going to happen. I was still like, okay, they put Angeria for the giggles, and Diabetic will probably go home, and Willow will be crying in the background. That's how biased I was. I didn't see this one coming. I felt so stupid when it actually happened to see them. I felt incredibly stupid. I felt incredibly naive. And I was like, no, it's nothing. Don't worry, it's nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Good Lord. Good Lord. So, let's move on to the runway like really, really quickly. Bronco, meh. Angeria, gorgeous but a little bit underwhelming. I was expecting something more. Diabetes I loved. Also, Ru Animal by Coco. Lady, opulent. That's a winner gown for me. She is the best looking on the runway. And Willow, celebrating her love for rodents. Now, I can tell you that little Vilma and Spot really appreciate it. I did as well. It's really creative. It's in typical Willow style. I was expecting anything less. She's not necessarily the best looking on the runway tonight, but she is my favorite. She is my favorite. Chat. Felicia, question the double sachet from the previous episode. They could have saved it for this episode. They could have, but I think they had something different in mind. Damien, did you enjoy Willow's mousy runway? I enjoyed it so much when she started talking about how rodents and rats and mousies are kind of misunderstood animals. You know, I was like, yes, I know, Willow, I know. I know. Slash, why did they autotune and mix this song so badly? Bosco sounded like Jennifer Coolidge. She sounded like shit. No shade to Bosco. She sounded like, as someone that sounds like shit, I can relate. Fulani, I think that they were tired, but producers chose to focus on Angeria to make us think she was going home. That might be the point. Yeah, you have a point there. You have a point. Skinless Chicken Nugget. My theory why for this bottom two. They wanted to have everyone's track record equally fucked up so they can freely choose who to crown for the biggest money out of it. Christos, please tell me you will comment on Bosco's vocals and the autotune on the girls. It was mess. Yeah, we're going to go to the music video, don't worry. Or did you watch the WoW report on YouTube? Tom Campbell mentioned that they just finished filming Down Under Season 2 and UK Season 4. No, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. But if we go, if we go from last year's schedule, it's pretty good because they finished filming UK Season 3 like in the middle of March. So at least they took 1 more month this year. Yeah, they really rushed. Down Under and Season 3 were really, really rushed. Inglomi, I think Diabetes took the advice of turn it and burn in and do literally. She looked stunning. I love Dia's outfit. It's typical Diabetes. I love it. Spicy Icy, apparently they filmed each elimination this episode. I would have liked one of them to go home. I agree with that. We're going to talk about it. Damien, do you think they return to season 7-8 finale format? We'll talk about it later. Don't worry, it's not a long review. We're almost at the end already. But I have no idea what they're going to do. They really opened a can of worms. Papa, I didn't recognize Bronco on the song. Felicia, Wilma and Spot were celebrating inclusion. I will edit them if I publish the video. There will be Wilma and Spotty in there. Don't worry, track records haven't mattered since 7th season. Thoughts on the price increase after like 15 seasons, and it was only because of Cash App. Did the price increase? I'm sorry, I didn't watch the Up Next. Did they increase the price? What's going on? What's going on? I don't have the tea on that. Felicia, Tom Campbell also said there would be a Drag Race Sweden coming down the pipeline. That's interesting. That's it. I would be interested to see that. Simply Drag, what do you think about the bigger prize? Yeah, what's the bigger prize? 150k and 50k for the runner-up. Oh, that's great. I mean, that's not nearly enough, but it was fucking time. 5Ks for the runner-up. That's wild. That's wild. When did they say this? Why did I miss this? What the fuck was I paying attention on? Nobody knows. These are crazy questions. I can tell you that I need more energy drink. More liquid energy, I'm telling you. Miss Congeniality gets 10k. When did they say this? Oh, maybe in the video that you said before. So they published like an update on World of Wonder? I didn't get that. I missed that. If you want to share a link, I will gladly take a look. Tells Gamer, get that coffee enema, girl. Oh, this is so much better. And way more easy to administer. Don't worry, it's just a spoiler for... Oh, come on, you guys. No spoilers. My god, I even talked about it live. Shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if there was anyone in the chat that heard that. I'm sorry. I had no idea. Okay, let's move on to the music video. What did I think about this music video? Well, Bronco's lyrics were impressive, especially the interpretation. She was on pitch 100% of the time, as she should have been. She didn't even sound like Bronco. There was so much effect on that voice because, you know, when you autotune a little bit too much, you can hear the phase shift in the voice. So, like, you can really hear it, even if it's not autotune, if it's another program that it's designed to minimize it. I know it because, you know, since I am deranged myself, I actually started learning those programs so that my singing can sound less deranged. And they worked better than autotune. But still, if you're so out of tune, people are going to hear it. So they need to add effects. They need to fade the voice. They need to add... I don't even know how those effects are called. Probably people who are more expert in this sector can tell me which kind of effect they put in there. She doesn't even sound like Bosco. I don't know. I don't know what happened in there. They did their best to cover it up. It was a shit show. And I was talking to myself. I was like, are you really surprised? They were going for this. They gave her at least a win that she didn't really deserve. They, you know, gave her allegedly the chocolate bar, and then there is the so-and-so lip syncs. I mean, she's the hero. This is typical treatment of the hero. If you have a problem with it, remember, you have a problem with the character. The person outside, it's another thing. And that is a problem that I have as well. I completely understand. I can relate to that because when I see Bosco on Drag Race, I'm like, oh my god, this is so annoying. And then I remind myself, this is the character. This is the character in the show. This is the way they're producing her, the way they're editing her. Because when I look at Bosco outside, I'm like, I can actually vibe with that kind of attitude. You know, that kind of, I don't give a fuck. I'm just here, relaxing, living my life. I vibe with that attitude. So I know it's 100% the way they are producing her in the show. But nevertheless, this is what they chose, so this is what we get. So overall, the video, it's really nothing special. It feels very predictable. There isn't... It's as if it doesn't really have a personality, the video itself. As if they kind of put it together last minute and thought, okay, it's called Catwalk, so let's show the catwalk, let's show the queens preparing, and that's it, and let's call it a day. So, I don't know. It wasn't as bad as Lucky. I don't know why, but Lucky was... I didn't like it. I really didn't. I know that some people were leaving for it, but I don't know. I don't know. I was basically singing Frack instead of Lucky when I was watching that, and that's how I survived. So it's still a step forward compared to Lucky, but it's nothing compared to Kitty Girl. Do you remember the Kitty Girl music video? That was majestic. That was incredible. That was so good. You can tell that somebody put his heart into producing that music video. It was really, really good. This not so much. On a side note, we have RuPaul leaving her fantasy as a cameraman, and I shit you not, while I was walking this, I was thinking, RuPaul, what are you really filming? What's going on through your mind? Because I can guarantee you that I can edit RuPaul as if she's filming an X-rated movie, and the effect would be the same. She has like this expression in her face. She's like, yes, girl, give me more of that. So I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know the vibe. I don't know. It's just that I don't know. I'll have to edit some like hardcore shit with RuPaul filming behind the camera. Probably Star Booty. We'll make an edit of Star Booty. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Have you guys watched Star Booty? Because we kind of talked about it on the Discord one night. It was wild. It was wild. Oh, shit. Let's get back on track. That's the X-rated film feature Crystal. No. I don't think she was even born yet when RuPaul filmed Star Booty. Nightmare category is RuPaul doing the bare minimum. Oh shit. Do you remember the season 3 mini challenge? The awareness mini challenge. I know what you mean. So not the Star Booty. I still remember that. Yeah, we were all traumatized. But at least, if you are traumatized as a group, you still understand each other's struggle. It's easier to, not feel so alone. I remember there was, I don't remember who it was because I have problems connecting the names from the live stream to the Discord because most people don't have the same names. But there was this guy who was like, I found Star Booty for like $100 on Amazon. I am buying it like right now. And he bought it. It was like for posterity. Oh shit. So let's move on to some last critiques. We're not going to go through all of them, only for the really interesting part, because it's the last episode and usually the critiques in the last episode are just a bunch of yada yada yada, and I don't have really a problem with it. The problem that I have, it's not with the fact that sometimes the critiques are bullshit. It's with the fact that sometimes they're bullshit done to actually hurt good performances or hurt the people who are there on the main stage or exploit what's going on with them. So there isn't really, they're kind of inoffensive. The critiques for this episode are kind of inoffensive. But what I think it's interesting happening in here is that we actually get to see the sketches from the queens. We see the sketches from all of the queens. And even if you're not a suing expert, you can tell that what you see right there, it's like 5% of the final dress. So for me, there has to have been a moment in which the queens had a talk with the stylist and maybe a talk with the people actually doing the sewing and give them basic direction. Because looking at those sketches, and I repeat, I'm not an expert, so I'm hoping to stand corrected on all of this. It looks like there is almost nothing going on in there. There is just a very, very general idea. There is not many measurements, not many indications of materials, colors, sewing patterns. There has to be this moment. That's why I think there is a lot that happened during filming for this episode that we didn't see. If you felt like this episode was really rushed through, then I think that might be cause of the problem, because a lot happened and we didn't even see it. It's like they literally merged together 5 days of filming into a 1 hour episode, and 10 minutes of that 1 hour is emotional porn, so it's actually 50 minutes episode. So Ferret, I love how you say suing. I say it wrong, don't I? I remember somebody helped me with the pronunciation for that, but I always forget if it's sewing, if it's suing. I forget that. I'm trying my best. Sebastian, how would you rank their performances and versus? Oh, this is something that I didn't talk about when. Sorry. This is something that I didn't talk about when I was doing the video. For me, the best of the best were Lady Camden and Diabetti. I was entertained more by Diabetti. After that, followed by Angeria, then Bronco, followed by Willow, and then Bronco and Angeria kind of on the same level. Because when you take recording the lyrics into account, and Angeria struggling during recording for the choreography, they are kind of on the same level at some point. So for me, I was expecting Angeria and Bronco. No, I wasn't expecting Angeria and Bronco. For me, Angeria and Bronco should have been in the bottom and Bronco being sent home. What I was expecting was to see Angeria and some Diabetti bullshit to push down her performance so that she could be in the bottom and be eliminated. This is what I was expecting. Bronchitis, Damien, yes, that's exactly what I have. And I'm not even smoking. Can you believe that? So, nevertheless, while we do this critiques, there is a strange cut during Willow's critiques. I don't know if many of you noticed this, but while RuPaul is talking to, maybe I should say Mamaru instead of RuPaul, since this was probably a tear-jerking moment, there is like this strange cut of RuPaul. In a matter of 5 seconds, she goes from laughing to crying to full resolution in literally 5 seconds. Is 3 different clips spliced together. It's probably 3 different audio clips. They kind of try to fool you with the video editing to make it kind of look like it was cohesive, but when you listen to it, it's literally 3 different splits. So I don't know what happened in there. I imagine that Willow probably had this long emotional moment and Mamaru was like crying for her and extracting more tears and so on, and we saw nothing of that. But she literally goes from laughing to crying in a split second, and it makes no sense. It's bizarre. It's literally bizarre. So, at this point, this is something that I noticed, and I stopped. And I took everything into account, and I was like, oh shit. This is when I realized that they were going to put Willow and Angeria in the bottom. At this moment, this is when I realized it. Because there was no way that they would put the ear on the bottom and maybe send Angeria home. Because, it's still VH1. Well, no, it's technically... Did I say VH1? I meant Viacom. So, yes, technically it's not Viacom anymore. It's Paramount. But you know what the general attitude is, in my opinion, of course. So, I had basically 2 options. Either they were planning for an all-Aryan top 4, which looks plausible considering who we are talking about, or they were sending Willow home. And when I saw this cut, I was resigned already. I was completely resigned. They were actually going to do it. The critiques were pretty transparent. They only had bad critiques for Angeria, Willow, and Bronco. So, I don't know, I was kind of getting pissed while watching this. I was kind of getting pissed. But don't worry, because it's time for some emotional porn before we get to know who is going to be in the top and who is going to be in the bottom. So you got used to it, and Mamoru is here to deliver. So all of the queens had to talk to their younger self. Of course, it's emotional porn. So everybody is trying to cry on command their best. My God, I don't know. Not everybody cries, thank God. Some queens manage to actually do so. So I'm not judging how genuine or not genuine it will be. It's not my place to do so because I also have no idea. I just find it very exploitative. Let's say it like this. Like, I mean, if I was there, there are definitely things that you could do to make me cry from a moment to another. It wouldn't make it any less genuine, but it still would be pretty exploitative. So this is what we have, because of course we need to appeal to the younger audience. We need to provide a sense of closure, and you know, it's emotional porn, so emotional porn always sells. And Mamoru is here to deliver. Look at Ross' expressions. It's like, I'm starting to develop a taste for those tears. They actually taste pretty good. They're good for the skin. Oh, shit. Do you guys even like this? Is there anyone here who actually enjoys and looks forward to this part of the season when we basically reach the last episode and we have the talk and cry to your younger self? I mean, I'm not judging anyone. If you feel like saying yes, it's just out of curiosity. I'm just genuinely wondering. So no, always skip. I hate it. It's hard to watch. It's cringe. I can't. Literally skipping every time. It's cringe. Mamoru said this segment for the younger viewers, that was so transparent. Yes, of course. Of course. It's pretty, I mean, even when she didn't say it, we know exactly what it was. It's the worst bit, literally my least favorite aspect of the show. No, it's generic, it's cringe. No, I do. It's an emotional catharsis for me personally. So you see, we have someone that actually enjoys this. More power to you. More power to you. I'm not here to destroy anyone's fantasy. If you enjoy this, that's fine. It's a cute idea in theory, but I hate it. So maybe Ellie, maybe I intersect. It's a cute idea, it's a bad execution. Felicia, absolutely not. It wasn't cute then, it's still not cute. Back in season 6, yes, but now I hate. Maybe it felt more genuine back in the day. I look at my iPhone. Absolutely not. About 2% just to see the baby. Yeah, the baby pictures are cute. I like them as well. They are really cute. I liked it at first, but it was boring. So okay, so basically the general idea is that we all dislike this. So let's skip it and go directly to the lip sync. Because there's not much else to talk about it. I mean, it is how it is. And I mean no disrespect. I think you know that I put my best intentions in there. If I mean disrespect, I say it pretty clear. So, after all of this, Lady British actually gets a win. It's her third win. And Angeria and Willow are in the bottom. Now, how was this lip sync? For me, from a technical editing perspective, the camera work was done really well. The editing was done really, really well. There is a moment, I don't know if you guys noticed, it took a little, I had to go frame by frame in order to realize what was happening. But there is a flawless transition when they cut a part of the song, and you can hear that the song was cut, especially, you know, it's a gay anthem, so you probably know that a part of the song was cut in there. But the video editing is completely smooth. You have a moment in which you see Angeria spreading her right arms and started walking toward the left. but it's really two different moments at two different points of the song, but it's cut and put together so well. Also, the camera angles work so well that if you didn't have a cue from the song itself, from knowing that there was a cut in the song, you wouldn't even have suspected there was a cut in there. It's like they really did a good job with cutting this lip sync. I was amazed. Still, not my favorite lip sync. Not my favorite lip sync. That's good for you. That I had an incredible fun with that lip sync. This one, I was also a little bit too much emotionally invested to actually enjoy it. I was like sitting on my chair with my asshole completely clenched, and I was like, I cannot believe they actually do it. I cannot believe they were actually going to do it. It was awful. It was literally awful. I am emotionally invested in both of those queens, so you know, I tend to usually be kind of objective and more on the detached side, if you will. This kind of upset me. This managed to get to me, yes. It doesn't happen often, but this kind of got to me. So, but all in all, the editing is done pretty well. I have not much complaint. We see the queens perform. Of course, you have this first-person reaction shots. We have this first-person shots, which I find annoying. I want to see the whole body. I want possibly to see both of the queens at the same time, especially if they're interacting. And you know, we don't have enough of that. This is not as bad as it could be. It's actually pretty good, but I kind of really miss the old editing, especially for a lip sync like this. I mean, this for me was on par with Detox versus Jinx back in season 5. This is how I felt about it. This is how I felt. Who won? Well, for me, Willow won. She did the best. It wasn't nothing spectacular. Also, let's keep in mind that what we mean, or at least what I mean with spectacular, is Laganja level of acrobatics or Georgia's level of energy. And you know that Willow, she's doing her best, and that's the best for her, to not exert herself more than that. Also because in Untucked, she is going to admit that she actually pushed on herself a little too hard. And I can relate on that. In the moment you don't think, and then you pay the price for it later on, and there is really no need for that. But for me, in the end, she did better than Angeria. I don't know if it has much to do with the edit. I think that Angeria simply looked very defeated during the whole process, and happened as well during the lip sync. But, you know, at the end, we have a double Shantae. This is something that I didn't see it coming. I was full thinking, well, they are not going as far as not having a Queen of Color in the top 4. Remember, this is a show done for people in the US. We are watching from all over the world, but this is the market for this show is people from the US. It's sold to VH1. It's a cable channel for the US. And the population in there, it's a good 30 to 40% people of color. So it would be very, very strange to have an all-white top 4. So I was expecting Willow to go home, even though I thought that she did better, even though, you know, she is my personal favorite, even though she has unique among the uniques. I was still thinking, well, she's going home, and she didn't. Why did she not? Well, that's an interesting question, and we are going to talk about it. First, let me go through a couple of comments, get a little bit of energy drink, and then we get to a little bit of final thoughts on the season. George, I was expecting a gaggy double elimination. That would have been gaggy. And also hurt like hell. I hate you. No, I don't. But you know what I mean. The lip sync was Bazura. They should have let Jasmine and Georges do this and not two queens in gowns. Well, since, you know, the accepted what's the word? Well, since we're all going with the idea that they programmed basically the shit out of this season, then yes, it would have made more sense. The point is, they did so much with Georges to bring her as far as they possibly could. Maybe at some point they looked in the mirror and thought, we cannot continue to do this. People are going to think this is not even a competition anymore. I mean, Georges is incredible in one kind of lip sync, but that's the only thing. For everything else, she still have a lot of growth to do. So, I don't know. This season is messy, but at least it's more entertaining than season 13. And I don't think it has anything to do with production. It's all on the queens. They have, on average, more charisma, they are more unique, and they have a better chemistry with each other compared to season 13. Spicy Icy, a little confession, I'm messy and I wanted drama, so I was ready to see Willow go home, but I'm happy for her for making it. Air Tempest, where is it? There we go. They always film both eliminations and double shantae, so I'm not super surprised, though I was surprised more because 8 non-elimination episode is ridiculous. I agree on that. Sebastian, so when the competitive side of the season is finally over, who did you drastically change your mind on in a positive or negative way? For the queens themselves, I don't have much. There are some queens that I did follow on social media and got to know a little bit more. Some other queens that I just didn't even... I didn't check out. So I cannot really tell you that I have a more positive or negative opinion on something that I know nothing of. All of the queens that actually participated in the Roscoe's viewing party managed to bring something more in a way that they didn't get really to shine during the season. I can tell you what the edit made me more upset on, and that is Bosco. The producing and editing of Bosco made me really annoyed every time I saw Bosco on screen. And this is going to rub off to and despite the fact that I have it pretty well under control, it's kind of rubbing off to the real person outside. So it's difficult to separate the two things. Tails Gamer, honestly, who do you think has the best chance to win, or at least be in the top 4? Let's go to speculations. So we have a top 5. What the fuck happened in there? This is not, for me, this is not that difficult to explain, because you know that we usually have our representation spots, we usually have our prototypical kind of queens that we get in the top 4. They started to throw all of these things out of the window. This is something that started that we started to see in season 13. It's exploded during season 14, like everything makes no sense, which is not necessarily a bad thing. They just have to find a way to actually make it in an entertaining way, in a way that makes sense. But, you know, distancing themselves from that way of doing things is not necessarily a bad thing. We have to see how they're going to carry it out. But what was the point in filming, in putting Angeria and Willow in the bottom? Because by the way they edited them, by the way they introduced them to us, by the way they produced both of them during the season, I think it was pretty clear that they wanted them as front runners. They probably thought, you know what, we are going to pump them up, especially in the very beginning, so that by the end of it, when they have to lip sync against each other and one will go home, it will make for good television. What they failed to predict is that basically these are two of the most liked queens of the season, and they managed to put both of them in the bottom while deciding for the last queen in the top 4. Now, when you look at what people think on Twitter, for example, this is something that I picked up a couple of hours before starting the live stream. Willow is towering all of them, and they put her in the bottom. After her, we have, at the same level, Bronco and Angeria. But I want you to remember one thing. For the past 5 episodes, Angeria completely disappeared in the edit. And despite that, she is still on the same level of the queens who had the hero headed, the queen that was saved by the drag gods, the queens whose storyline have been rehashed almost every episode in the past 5 episodes, and they still were received at the same level. They were still received at the same level. So, after that, Lady Camden and then Bosco and Angeria. So, I think they really fucked it up because they didn't account for the fact that a lot of people would not be on board with Diabetes Heather's storyline since the very beginning. This is something new. This is something people are not used to. And they responded well. It's not that we didn't see much hate toward Diabetes. There was a little bit in the beginning when people didn't really understand what she was doing, how she was carrying herself, but reasonably, she got a good reception. But it's a kind of untested kind of edit. So, of course, people were going to respond like that. By that, what I mean that she received the least vote out of all of the queens. So I don't know what went through their mind to think that they could really get away with having basically her 2 front runners in the bottom ready to go home, because they completely fucked themselves. They basically found themselves in a position that either they were going to have a top 4 with no representation for queens of color or for people of colors, or eliminating their front runner. So what the fuck do you do then? They completely missed the point. And good for them that they allegedly filmed all of the possible outcomes. That's why, in my opinion, we had a double save. Because they realized that they completely fucked themselves over. They are completely out of touch with the audience. How can you be so out of touch not to realize who the people are going to respond the most? We as fans of Drag Race, we have been in this for 14 years. I think that World of Wonder has a good idea. If they want to spend the money in marketing, they can have a very good idea of who we are and what we like. So how did it end up this messy? I don't know what they were thinking. For me, they tried to go for shock value because this is what they have done for the whole season. But in a way, this is really proof for me that they are completely out of touch with us. They don't understand us anymore. They can quote, the Drag Race online culture as much as they want, but they kind of stopped understanding us as their audience. They don't understand what we like. They don't understand what we want. And now that I think about it, this is the reason why they push so much to convince us that the decision that they take is the right one, that they rig the lip syncs to make them look as if, they picked the right queen. They want to convince us of what we should like. They don't give us the freedom to just like who we like. That's how out of touch they are. And this season, they fucked it up big time. So, for me, they had no other choice but to have them both stay. It would have been a shit show both ways. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how the hell are they going to make a finale with 5 queens in there. They know that the lip sync for the crown is something that works. And in business, if it works, you don't change it. But how are you going to manage it with 5 queens? That's going to be interesting. So I'm really curious to see what they do. Needless to say, for me, they filmed all of the possibilities, all of the possible eliminations. So Angeria, Willow, or both of them stay, or even both of them go home. Probably they filmed 4 of them because They know that they fucked up in the past, so they're not going to repeat the same mistakes. They film all of the possibility, allegedly of course, and then pick up the best one when it's time to actually air the episodes. How are they going to get out of this? I have no idea. But I hope that they're going to learn from this. You can influence the audience in a way that you can make them like more somebody that they already like, or dislike more somebody that they already dislike. But you cannot completely build the opinion that we have on someone just because maybe you have a need to actually decide 100% of what it's supposed to be happening. It's insane. It's literally insane. So, who is going to win? That is a nice question. Now, if they go by popular vote and by my personal choice, it's probably going to be Willow. Will they go for it? I think there is a good chance because, you know, it's Viacom, formerly Viacom, now Paramount. And I have a hint that they are really looking forward to start crowning white queens again. I think that their choice was probably Bronco. The problem is that the audience did not respond to Bronco. The audience actually responded more to Lady British. That's what the audience responded to. And you know that since back in the day in season 5, we always have, allegedly of course, 2 possible picks for the win out of the top 3 if they had a top 3 or top 4 or now top 5. They always have a plan B of the queens who they actually want to crown, who they actually consider worthy of representing the franchise. So my hint was that their choices were Bronco and Lady Camden. And people didn't really respond to them because they gave them most of the wins out of everybody. But people looked at Bronco and thought, listen, I'm not sold on it. I'm sorry. I know that the drag gods love you, but I'm not really sold on that. And then looked at Lady British and thought, yeah, you know, it's actually not that bad. But then they looked at Willow and said, okay, this is my winner. So it's going to be interesting how they're going to pull it off. It's going to be really interesting. For me, there is no doubt about it. Judging by the way they edited Angeria, I thought that they were keeping her down just because she was outshining everybody else. But at this point, I can confidently say that I was wrong. They were trying to diminish her impact on the public. I think they just don't want a queen of color to win, period. So for me, Angeria has 0 chances to win. They will probably either crown Willow and call it a day. I'm happy with it. I don't like all of this machinations behind the scenes. They are so annoying. They are so annoying to me. But it's going to be gaggy to see how they get out of this shit situation. And I am all here for it. Chat, Felicia, as the season progressed, I grew to dislike Bosco. The Tails gamer, at this point, to save money, I would expect the producers give the teeth kind of crown rather than an actual crown. Eric, how do you think Willow and Angeria's friendship developed? It's something that wasn't shown on camera. They one day started talking about how they appreciated each other's. I have no idea. What I do know, and since I saw it on social media, is that this is something that carried on in real life as well. Independently on how it started or how they built it, this is something that continued. Tempest, it's still hilarious to me that Jasmine has 2 less confessionals than Bosco, the queen with the most confessionals the entire season, despite not even being in the last 3 episodes. Well, Jasmine was the narrator, so this is something that is to be expected. Sebastian, if Lady British wins, I'm gonna slap Georges in the face so RuPaul will learn his lesson. Well, I am still gagged that they didn't push Georges to the top 5. This is the first stop where we don't actually have a young and talented, which is gaggy. Dom.com, they found themselves in the same position Ross Matthews finds himself in. Insulin Independent Skank, they are so out of touch. They produce themselves in a corner like they did Down Under. Yeah, that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. I mean, I don't expect this to be, let's be honest, I don't expect this to be like the Olympics of drags. I understand that it's television. There are things that you have to do. You have a network that you have to deal with. You know, you have to make compromises. I do understand that. It doesn't need to be 100% real, but it doesn't have to be 99% fake. That's the problem. Let's do, you know, like this, the non-eliminations episode for this season. Can we at least go 50%? Have it only 50% fake, you know, and then it would look like season 3. JP Medina, I heard that they changed the format. No lip sync for the crown. Thank the Lord. You don't like it? I still like the lip sync for the crown. I mean, yes, last year was the way it was, but I still like the format. Remember when in Canada, when UK Season 3 was put on streaming platform, they accidentally put the subtitles for Hell of a Day crowning. Oh my god. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. D15, are we going to have a double, triple crowning or just Willow? I haven't even thought of a double crowning. You know, that it's a great way. I'm going to, if I release the episode, I'm going to edit that comment in because that is a great way to have it both ways. Because as we know, World of Wonder is the producers. VH1 is the one that foots the bill. So what I imagine that is happening is that you have two different companies that they will have to come to terms and decide on a winner that they are both comfortable with, because this is business, and even deciding a winner is business, is a decision that will impact them financially way more than $100,000 or $150,000 or whatever it is. We're talking about millions. So it would kind of make perfect sense to have two winners so that the network is happy with it, World of Wonder is happy with it, because as far as I understand, as much as World of Wonder can be very shady at times, the real problem is not World of Wonder. The real problem for us is VH1. They are the ones who seem to be pushing all of this bullshit and shock value and tune in next episode and stretching a season for 2,000 episodes. World of Wonders are the ones who are actually closer to our side. I mean, let's be honest with it. I do enjoy taking a good dump on World of Wonder from time to time. You know about that. But objectively, they are way closer to us than VH1. They are the ones who seem to be completely out of touch and completely demanding producing decisions that makes absolutely no sense. So a double crowning, yes, I can see that happening. Lysander, I think we're going to see a season 11 parallel where Evie won and Brooke was runner-up. There are a lot of similarity between Evie, Willow, and Brooklyn and Camden. Well, from that point of view, Camden has the professional edit, much like they did with Brooklyn. So, oh, sorry, I've completely forgot to tell you about the edits and archetype for the season. So we have Bosco, who is the hero of the season, the fashion forward queen. Lady Camden is the professional. Diabetes is the other. Willow Pill is the lovable weirdo, and Angeria is the queen of color, not portrayed as a villain. These are the baseline character archetypes that we got for the top 5. They do not exactly adhere to canon, but we don't expect them to be, since they're kind of shifting from that. Spicy, if it was to me, Diabetes should win the whole season, but I know she barely has any chances. Well, let's be happy that she got the edit she got. Slash, am I the only one that likes Bosco here? I'm 100% sure she won't win, but I'm expecting her to sweep on All Stars. So maybe it's because I don't like the way they are portraying her. And, maybe people tend to align more or put more emphasis on that. I don't dislike Bosco. I like Willow more, for sure. And I like Bosco more than Lady British, mostly because at least I saw Bosco. Lady British, it's just a beautiful mask on stage. Damien, do you think Bosco and Jasmine look like the Olsen twins? Not at all, come on. Lovish, do you think they will do a lip sync for the crown this time? Well, somebody said they won't do it. Personally, I think yes, because, if it works, you don't change it. But then again, I'm very, very conservative with my prediction. I was the one telling you until 3 episodes ago that Georgia's was going to be in the top 4 because we always had a young and talented, basically since we started having young and talented. And they were cast in the actual season. So it never happened that somebody that was aged 21 to 23 with that kind of edit, and we had them in the cast, and they didn't reach the top 4. It never happened. When they cast them, we always had one in the top 4. This is the very first time. So based on the same kind of logic, I would tell you, of course they're going to have a lip sync for the crown. That's, But I don't know. Merzana, overproducing belittles the queen's efforts. There you go. Thanks for your belittles. That is the word that I was looking for. Thank you. Isn't Bronco the young and talented? Bronco's too old for that. Air Tempest, I don't like lip sync for the crown because it forces production to have to redeem, positively edit all the top 4 because anyone could flop the lip sync and have to be axed. That's the beauty of the lip sync for the crown, that you cannot really choose who is going to be in the top. You're going to have to settle with what you have. That's why the format was so successful in season 9. Nobody was expecting Sasha to win and to win like that. It felt like, the queens had an actual chance to win despite whatever production might throw their way. Gregory, for the crowning, they will take a chocolate bar and taste it. The one that is actually plastic will win. Yeah, and then leave a couple of crowns on the chocolate bar. One of the first things the queens do once they come on Dragon, for some reason, they all redo their teeth. And listen, unless it's extreme cases like Jiggly, for example, where you actually have parodontitis and a lot is going on that's really reducing your quality of life. So unless it's that, keep your smile. It's beautiful the way it is. It has personality. And you don't have to pay for it. Please, queens, keep it. We like it. It's less money to spend for you. It's a healthier choice and something nobody tells you. Once you get these things all over your teeth to create this new smile, it's going to be very hard to keep a good oral hygiene, which means your breath will smell like shit. So I hope I made my case clear in case any of you is thinking of these things. JP, it would be fun to get a full-on villain winner. Yes, it would. It would. I would go for it. Not nasty villain winner. Not nasty. But I was kind of rooting for Candy Muse last season. I was really rooting for Candy Muse. My partner hated me. He hated me. Because I was actually cheering. Remember that Candy won the first lip sync. If Candy won season 13, would it have increased the chances of Diabetes win? Yes. Yes. Even though it's not exactly the same edit, it's a very similar kind of edit. Because it takes something negative and spins it into a positive way. So for Candy, it was a redeemed villain kind of edit. So it's something that goes from one opposite to the other. And theoretically, what you see in the storyline is a transition from a negative position to a positive one. This is something that we saw happening with Raja in All-Star 6. even though the difference is that the redemption arc goes between 2 seasons. Okay, with Candy we saw it in the exact same season. But Daya is not exactly a villain. She comes from what is usually perceived in a negative way, but it's not exactly a villain. It's not exactly the same thing. But the concept, this is what I would like to understand. The concept on the basis is the same. That there is no such thing as negative or villain or the bad guy. It's a very human kind of edit. So even though they are executed differently, I think the concept at the basis is the same. Did you heard about Asia and the Spanish Queen's drama? No, not really. Not really. JP, imagine if Tyra Sanchez nowadays won the Twitter would blow up in flames. Well, good thing we didn't have that in season 2. Good thing. My god, I don't have a voice today. What happened to me? Maybe I'm vaping too much. Maybe that's the problem. I've been vaping too much. Felicia, what were you smoking when you were cheering Candy? I wasn't smoking anything. I was like, you know what? For this season, I choose violence. Crown Candy Muse, and I am here for the shit show that's going to happen on social media. Like, I'm here to see people losing it. It's a shit season. It's a messy season. Let's get a messy winner. And you know, Candy Muse knows a thing or two about rising from the ashes, or about doing the best with the little you have. So it would have made perfect sense. Perfect sense. And look at the bright side. We could have actually seen the evolution of Simone on All Stars. Because, I mean, as much as I have enjoyed Simone and her professionality, there was not much going on during season 13. I mean, there was that one character that she portrayed in acting challenges and the catwalk. That was basic, and the outfit that her house helped to provide. That was basically it. Ferret, wasn't Valentina young and talented from season? She was too old for that. She was too old for that. Her Tempest, just imagine if season 2 heard now. The queens would be ripped to shreds. It would also be so refreshing. You know, seeing all of them collectively show such a middle finger to the people who don't know the difference between television and real life. It would be like, you can all go fuck yourself. And this is something, I know, it's brutal to say it that way. It's not like I think that is the proper way to do it, because it's not. But the concept behind it, it's the same. I mean, we get most of this also because people care too much about it. If people would act more like Diabetes and be like, you know what, yes, I'm petty. I am petty, but you know, it's not that serious. You can have fun. You can be a little bit shady. It's drag. Come on. You know, this is what Diabetes represented. And I think that only based on that, from a production perspective, she is going to be incredibly influential. Her edit is going to be incredibly influential. Possibly changing some of the way that the queens are edited for the next and the future season. Changing the attitude about it. Diabetes is the first real step that I see toward a kind of drag race that embraces its nature instead of overproducing it itself in order to print more money. Phoenix, this episode shows that while drag gods helped out Bosco, they have abandoned us. Felicia, are you and your partner still watching España Season 1? We actually haven't finished Episode 1 yet. We haven't finished that. I went into a Star Trek rabbit hole, so I rewatched Voyager because I missed old Trek. And somehow I find it very, very comforting. I mean, it's something that I used to watch as a kid. And right now I'm going through a moment in which I needed something comforting, like really comforting. So that's what I've been watching in my free time. What do you think about this season? I see people saying this is the best recent US season in a while, and I kind of agree with that. I think it's a step forward compared to season 13. Season 13 for me is the worst season that we had so far, closely followed by season 11. On average, of course, when you take into account the chemistry of the queens, the abilities of the queens, the producing, the editing, the general quality of the season, I think season 13 was the worst. So this season is already helped a lot by comparison. I think from a casting point of view, it's an excellent season. They completely fuck up everything else because they managed to make it boring. How can you get a cast like this and still make it boring is beyond me. Still a huge improvement from last season. Tels Gamer, what was the most robbed queens of the season in your opinion? Well, there is a lot of queens that have been robbed. If we are talking about since the very beginning, I will tell you Raven. Because she's always second, and there used to be a time in which I would take care, when I used to do top 10s, I would always put Raven second. Just, because I chose violence. So I would throw salt on the wound. Recently, I would say Denali. Denali was destroyed in season 13. Lysander, we can expect in the finale spaghetti wig reveal, Taya eating insect on stage, threatening RuPaul to let her move on to the next round, and Bosco wins the season thanks to the drag gods. Wink wink. I hope it's not that bad. Sebastian, do you think this season is the best season since season 9? Absolutely not. Season 12 is right there. And it managed to look so impressive regardless of the fact that they had to edit out Shitty Pie last minute and basically add random footage that didn't impact the season too much in order to make it make sense. And it still was amazing. It was really a good season. It was a proper redemption season. So yes, for me, season 12 can be almost even better than season 9. Slash, the only reason I don't like long seasons is because of the financial strains on the queens. It's very evident with Bosco, and a lot of the looks were borrowed. It's not just the strain on them, it's the fact that they are overworked for a long period of time, and the fact that they don't manage to do so in an entertaining way. I mean, there are many ways in which you can make a season of 16 episodes interesting and still have half of them without sending anybody home. It's the execution that makes all the difference. Can we take a 5 minutes pause? I really need to go to the toilet. I should have just said, let's take a pause. Good God. Let's take a pause, then we go back to our chit-chatting in 5 minutes, okay? See you in a moment. And we are back. Now let me get in my relaxed position. Good thing that nobody sees me. You would be like, that's the laziest fat man I've ever seen in my life. Oh, shit. Yes, I am that relaxed. I'm also going to give it a little bit of vape, because why not? I need nicotine after all. And I'm still off the cigarettes, which is a great thing actually. Although I miss them from time to time, I must be honest. Especially if I am around people smoking, I'm like, you know what? I can have one. Maybe a couple of them. I manage to find a way to not get trapped into the things that you get one and then you start smoking again. So I'm like, yeah, maybe from time to time I should celebrate, you know, cut myself a little bit of slack and saying, well, okay, you smoked for a long time. You can smoke one from once in a while, as long as you don't pick up the habit anymore. The Tales Gamer, best runway of the season. I couldn't really say, no. I mostly enjoy a runway when I see how the dresses are made. So and I'm also the last person you should ask for. Like opinions on which one was the best, why it was the best. I'm like, imagine a kid going through the toy aisle during Christmas time. I'm like, yes, I will have a little bit of this, I will have a little bit of that. Like a little bit of everything. Most of the times all of the queens look fabulous. It's very rare that I watched someone on the runway and be like, oh, I don't like this. This is so underwhelming. Like, it happened only once, I think, and it was last season when somebody jizzed on Candace's outfit. That was when I was genuinely underwhelmed. Other than that, usually I'm not so hard on the runway. I'm harder on acting challenges, actually. I'm really hard. Like, I don't know what they have with this Daytona wins kind of thing, but to me it was nothing special. It was refreshing. I will give you that. It was refreshing because they kind of had fun with the queens, you know. They kind of surprise them. So I like that. I like that kind of interaction between queens and production, you know, that they start not taking themselves so seriously and throwing shits at each other's and this kind of things. I like it. But apart from that, it was nothing special. I mean, it was not Queens from Outer Space. Let's say it like this. Gregory, maybe these non-eliminations episodes are RuPaul's cry for retirement. Maybe she's done and this is a way to fuck up production, so they let her go. I don't think so. I can tell you one thing about RuPaul. I don't know the man. I have, you know, hints, but I cannot come here and tell you how somebody is when I haven't even met them. I mean, it's difficult when you have met someone to actually express solid opinions, but I haven't even met it. But, so we're talking about assumptions. From what I've seen, Ru really likes luxury and money, so I don't think so. I think this is directly the will of VH1. They're the one footing the bills, they're the one paying for the episodes, they're the one renewing the season. Air Tempest, I'm wondering, why did you dislike season 11 so much? It's my favorite season because the cast was there to be messy, especially after the last 3 seasons, and I respect that. I haven't rewatched it, so you also should take that into account. I watched it when it aired. I don't know if the way they treated Silky, and you know my feelings. I call her the resident queen of Puerto Vallarta for a reason, but independently of that, I was kind of shocked to see them go so hard, knowing exactly what was going to happen and what happened, and that already rubbed me the wrong way. Then there was this messy 7-way lip sync that makes no sense. They triggered Raja so much during the whole season. Vanjie pushed to the top just because she was Vanjie, when, let's be honest, she was probably top 7 at best. So I don't know. Being also sandwiched in between season 10 and season 12 really didn't help, because comparison also influences the way you look back. So I don't know. Maybe if I rewatch it, I will change my mind on that, because I didn't have a live stream or even a channel at the time, but for the longest time I was like, season 7 was the worst season of Drag Race. That went on until season 11 came along. So, and then I rewatched season 7 and I was like, oh my, now I get it. Now I completely get it. Season 7, it's so good. It hold in time pretty well. So I don't know, maybe it will happen with season 11 as well. I have to rewatch it. Sarah, I feel you on that one. Nicotine is super addictive and hard to get off, so snaps to you. Thank you, but I have a secret. Which is not really a secret. It's just that I vape and I can manage the amount of nicotine. So, if I don't smoke the cigarette and I feel like I need the cigarette a little bit more, I can add the tiniest bit more of nicotine and for as long as I need it. Usually it's a couple of hours. I put 1 or 2 more drops of nicotine. That helps, and then I go back to a low regime, because I'm slowly phasing it out. I'm taking time to phase out the nicotine, but I'm slowly phasing it out. Thaliel, did you watch Drag Race España? Thoughts until now? I haven't picked up on it again. Sebastian, will you stream also after the reunion episode? I don't know. Because I don't know frankly, I don't know what's going on. Because I have as much free time as I used to have before. That's not what it has changed, but when I sit on the computer and I start editing, I'm like alone doing it. It's not, when I do the live stream, there's always the chat there is always people to talk with, there is comments, we have kind of an interaction, it's something that it's a different situation. When you sit down and editing, you are really on your own. You're really doing it on your own. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I overworked on the channel. I really overworked. But you don't know how many times. I think 4 times during this week I tried to sit down and be like, come on, you have episode 12, which is like 70% edited already. It takes 2 or 3 hours to basically finish it. Then you can leave it there and encode it, make your final check, do the correction, and it's basically done. Why don't you do it? And I don't know. I hope I'll get out of it soon, because it's not good for the algorithm if you don't publish for too long. YouTube punishes you. It doesn't. So you publish a new video, but it doesn't suggest it to as much viewer as it used before. So I kind of have to do it. We'll see. Sebastian, season 11 is super rewatchable. I have a suspicion that my opinion will change if I actually rewatch it. I have a suspicion of that. Thaliel, did you enjoy Evie Oddly in season 11? Do you think that was the best option for the winner title? I think Brooklyn deserved it more, but Evie had a better storyline from a performance point of view. But I mean, looking back, I'm like, well, you know what? They gave it to Evie in a time in which she had what it took to get it. She had what it took. She was not bad. It's just that Brooklyn, for me, performed a little bit better. But at the end of the day, Brooklyn also got her own show. She is the first drag queen that participated on RuPaul's Drag Race to become a main judge on a spin-off of Drag Race in her own country. So that's still a pretty good deal. I would say it's even a better deal than actually winning. So it turned out great. It really turned out great for her. Phoenix, are you looking forward to the reunion? If it's going to be messy, yes. Oh, yes. I'm really curious to see what Orion has to say, especially to Diabetes. And please put George's in the middle. Gregory, are you sitting on a cigarette? Oh, I wish. I wish. I'm just sitting on a chair. Flanny, yeah, she did. Instead of all of those photos of Rue in the workroom, we needed photos of Chi-Chi and Sahara Davenport. I can't think of another deceased queen. Oh, you're talking about... Okay. JP, my only problem with season 11 is that Scarlett was flat out robbed on her lip sync, and I will die on this hill. You are not alone. I feel the same way. She was one of my favorite queens in season 11. She was still one of my favorite queens in All Star 6, and she was robbed in both seasons. She could have been there a couple of episodes more. Easily. Like, easily. I'm not going as far as saying Scarlet Envy should have won season 11, okay? I'm not trying to reach for the drag gods. But let's be honest, a couple of episodes more, they were completely deserving. Caitlin, what season did you start watching at? Forgive me if you said it in another video somewhere. No worry, it was season 2. It was season 2, which is probably also one of the reasons why I still think it's the best season of Drag Race ever. Like, ask anyone, and on average, you will start to realize that everyone's favorite season is the one they started watching. So there is something about this show that it's incredibly charming. And maybe it's the sense of feeling normal, you know? Like, for me, Drag Race normalized being feminine. I know how it sounds. But it didn't feel normal. It didn't feel common. It felt like something that sticked out. Okay, that's what I mean. Not necessarily in a negative or positive way. It just didn't feel like, oh yeah, what does it matter? I'm very grateful to that, because that's a kind of bias that I didn't even choose for myself. I mean, I was raised with this, idea of manliness and so on, and I'm happy to have discovered my feminine side. That's great, actually. You see, I can be very faggoty if I want to. Phoenix, will there be a therapy live stream for the reunion next week? Probably. There will probably be. The Tales Gamer, opinions on Drag Race girl TV shows. I don't watch much outside of the Drag Race show itself. Specifically, I don't watch anything that is on World of Wonder. I know that Trixie and Katya are very successful with but I cannot really say. I can tell you that from a podcast perspective, sometimes I listen to Race Chasers, and I like the Bianca podcast. Sometimes I also do listen to the Boulay Brothers podcast. So this is what I enjoy the most. Other than that, usually I tend to watch more independent creators, mostly because, it feels like depending on who you're watching, it's like they are more direct. That's what I do appreciate. What's the expression? Notable note? Notable exception. Honorable mention. Honorable mention. James Mansfield. He does incredible work with these wigs. I wouldn't necessarily call it a show, what she does. It doesn't really fit the definition of a show. I find it incredibly entertaining. She is so knowledgeable about her history, and she can make teasing a wig interesting. That's amazing. I mean, and I'm not even interested in hair. I mean, since the lockdown started, I started cutting my own hair and I never looked back. So you can imagine. Skinless Chicken. Maybe for editing, make a kind of meetup in the voice chat of Discord. So then you do your thing and others do theirs and people can talk while doing things. And then you're not alone. You mean doing like an editing thing? But yeah, I could do it. Yeah, I could do it actually. But I would have to shut down the microphone because I'm editing the voiceover from the live stream. That's when I get the voiceover. Yeah, I think that would help. That's actually a good idea. That's actually a very good usable advice. Thank you. Fantasia, if it helps you, make a video editing channel. I'm not sure if the name got changed, but if you use it, I'm sure you won't be editing alone. I will do it. I will do it. Yeah, I need to just snap out of it. That's the problem. That's not the first. I'm prone to blocks. I just need to snap out of it. Ferret, forgive me if this is rude and you don't have to answer, but I'm wondering, what is your accent? Where are you from? Well, I try to not say it. I think that I'm kind of lucky that I have a very mixed accent, so it can be difficult to pinpoint exactly. But I know that I'm going over the top with it. I know that I am extreme, but I'm just really afraid of people identifying you in real life and giving you problems or coming to your home, and I'm just really worried about that. So I try to stay as anonymous as possible. I know that people will speculate. People always speculate. What I do tell is, please understand where I'm coming from. So people can ask. I don't take it personal. It's just don't maybe actively engage in it. At least, you know, not in front of me, because it makes me anxious. Talia, which queens in this top 5 do you think would slay in an all-star season? Probably Angeria. Once you give her the economical stability and she actually completely finds her character, I think she would slay an all-star season. She can be a very versatile queen. I know that Bosco is sold to us as the versatile one, but I think she can be. It's not that she cannot be. She's just not there yet. I think Angeria could completely slay it. Willow, of course. The problem with Willow is that she is... she has limits. Her body has limits. And those limits also depend on time. So that's the only reason why I didn't say Willow first. But out of all of them, I think both of them. Yeah. Maybe Diabetes too, in 3 or 4 years. Razor Girl, I've heard that there are content laws in Canada that demand a Canadian host, hence Brooklyn is the host, not RuPaul. There is actually. Somebody wrote me and somebody actually gave me a link, and I read it. There is not, and this is not just something that relates to television, it relates to radio as well. It's a way to ensure that Canadians... culture, can we say culture? Well, it's actually represented in media. So there is a long history to it. There is a Wikipedia article that it's incredibly interesting. Well, depending where you're coming from. It was incredibly interesting for me. Felicia, Brooklyn Heights looks outstanding and outdoing RuPaul. I agree. But also, she doesn't have as much freedom as RuPaul because, judging from what Jeffrey said, basically everything that the judges say on Canada's Drag Race is written for them. So RuPaul is RuPaul. If RuPaul wants to sit on that panel of judges talking about coffee enemas, she can. I don't think Brooklyn can. Damien, I can sit down and watch season 2 without thinking, and it's always a fun time. It's so good. It's literally so good. If it would air today, people would lose their shit. JP, I love Scarlett to death, but winning, no. She would never win a season. I think she could reach maybe top 5, but a couple of episodes more for sure. Yeah. That's what I'm being reasonable in here. I'm being reasonable. Skinless, we will never see Scarlett Lana Del Rey for Snatch Game. There is so much potential to make her character so stupid and funny. They're overdramatic and hyper stereotypical glam American. Yeah, that's a loss. And there are a lot of Snatch Game characters that I would have liked to see and I didn't get to see. And if you know my sense of humor, you kind of have an idea who I'm talking about. D15, the SmackDown is great. No one saw Sasha coming or the butterfly effect incident. It makes the whole thing nonsensical, and I love chaos, especially when it generates good memes. In a way, I love it too. I love a situation in which everything is really up for grabs. Not too much of it. It doesn't have to be. It's something that you need. It's like salt on a dish, you know. A little bit in good proportion. It can make. It can transform your dish. But not too much. Not too much. I don't choose violence that much. Danny, I binged season 1 through 12 in a couple of months. I guess that's why I don't have a favorite season. We used to wait for Drag Race for a whole year. Think about that. Jules, I watch Nina Bonina's reviews on Drag Race because she puts a show and reviews the show with honesty and authentic opinions. Yes, the only I would put a disclaimer when you watch Nina's reviews. Nina sometimes, well, I haven't followed each and every one of them. I saw some of them. I watched some of them. Nina kind of acts as if we are in her living room, having a joint to drink and a nice conversation, which can be charming, but we are still on a huge platform and with reach to literally thousands of people. You cannot really afford to talk the same way you would talk in the living room. It's due to the fact that there are so many people, each and everyone's difference starts coming into play. So you need to not be less of yourself, but you need to tune yourself a little bit down, because we are not sitting on a couch. JP, James makes styling wig interesting. Miss Relatable could never. She couldn't. I wish we were going to get Daya as a winner. It would put an end to the curse of season 13, especially since the seasons are so boring. They either get me outraged or fully asleep. They are kind of getting the same with me, if I have to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't have had a problem with this season if it was 10 episodes, maybe 11, but 16? Good lord. Razor Girl, maybe you need to have another project with a deadline, like housework, renovate, so that you can procrastinate on what you're doing. I have it, believe me. I'm improving the cage for the mousies. So I have a side project. It's just it's like writer's block. No, maybe it's not that serious, but it's kind of there. Tails Gamer, have you heard any rumored season? And if so, which one are you most excited for? The All-Winner season is the most rumored one. It's something that has been going on for almost a couple of years. And it's interesting. I'm really interested to see who actually is on. Who actually said yes. That's probably what I'm going to find the most interesting, at least until the season actually airs. If they're really doing it, of course. But yes, I'm kind of curious because it's going to be a measure of either desperation or gambling. It's going to offer insights. JP, Angeria would slay an all-star season for sure, but would the producers want her to? I am not so sure. Well, if we judge by what they did this season, then I tend to agree with you. But then again, different queens means different dynamics. So if it goes with the dynamic, there is a very high chance she could do very well. Do you think Willow might win because they're not sure if they're able to get her back on All Stars due to her condition? Also, Canadian content law ads I grew up with. That's a possibility. I think it's not like these are companies. It's not like they really care about that. But when you put that into perspective with the fact that Willow she is the one the audience has chosen. Like when you look at the voting, for example, the one closely following Widow is Lady Camden, and she has half of the engagement of Willow. Half. It's not even close. It's half. So I think that's what's really going to make the difference. And of course, it helps if people start believing that they did it out of good heart because they understand what she is fighting with and they wanted to have a chance to immortalize her character and have her moment and rise from the ashes, and however you want to put it is a hell of a storyline and an easy one to sell, and it makes them look good. But I do think the real reason is the fact that she generates engagement. These are businesses. Skinless, you're welcome. Me and some friends do that sometimes. Just being in the same chat while studies or learning can take a break and chat and get some motivation. Yeah, that's a great suggestion, actually. I used to study alone back in the day. But we would actually do like sometimes would be like, okay, we have 3 exams this week. Can we tackle all 3 of them? No. Okay. So okay, let's do this too. Great, fantastic. What do we do with the 3rd? We have 2 days. Can we try it? Can we like study 16 hours a day all together for 2 days uninterrupted? And the answer was usually yes. We can do it and we will do it. Christos, which underrated queen would you like to see on the next All Stars? I'm not going to say Alyssa Summers because amateur season is not here. Probably I will have to go. Well, it also depends on how you define underrated. Like Kasha Davis, for example, was very underrated by the show, but we, the fans, we absolutely saw what she was capable of. So right now I'm feeling Mrs. Kasha Davis. Probably tomorrow I would give you a different answer, but right now I'm very feeling Kasha Davis. Yeah, we need more of Kasha. Yeah, she's also an older queen, which I do appreciate. Orchidude, did you know that the queens of Drag Race España are allowed to interact with each other when the cameras are off? Yes, I heard that they live in the same house, which is amazing. And that can also explain why they had such good, or at least I'm told that they had such good interactions with each other. Felicia, would you like to see Georgina Chacha on All Stars 10 years from now? Yes. 10 years from now, yes. Maybe even 5 or 6. Not before that. Not before that. She would burn an incredible opportunity. All Stars can be, she's also so very young, Jasmine as well. All Stars is an incredible opportunity to show who you have become. So if Drag Race give you the means, All Stars give you the possibility to actually show who you have become once you acquire the means. You don't have to squander it. Don't be a Jan. Don't be like, if they ask me, I will take this opportunity because it might never come. Don't do that. Phoenix, this non-elimination episode shows violence after doing a double sachet. Yes, but it's shock value. It's shock value. Think about it. We had 4 shock values moments, 4 in a row. First of all, we had Jasmine going home, even though she didn't even deserve to go home. Then we had the chocolate bar. Then we had the double elimination, and then we have a double save. They know they don't have a show. They know they don't have a show. Nightmare Season 2 is Drag Race Spicy Chicken Soup. It's always good. And you always find something that you missed every time you rewatch it. Well, that's true for every season. It's just that I appreciate it more because that's my favorite one. JP, I would like to see Estina as Azealia. That's a car crash I would love to see. Sebastian, do you prefer All-Stars or regular season? I don't really have a preference between them because they both bring 2 different things. When you watch the regular seasons, you get to see the new faces. You also get to see the new changes. On All-Stars, you get to see how queens have changed over time and competing again. So they offer 2 very different things. For me, it's like asking, do you like salty food or sweet food? And I'm like, well, they are both 2 very different kinds of food. George, I can tell you the cast for all winner if you want. Please don't. Give me the surprise. Give me the surprise. Air Tempest, I think that Angeria might get the Akira trajectory of pageant queen who gets 2 wins and makes the finale on their season, but then gets neglected and thrown in the bottom during All-Stars. It can. But again, it really depends on the kind of dynamic that they want to create for the season. Remember, a lot of queens who get asked for All-Stars and end up saying no. Some of them, they will be pretty honest about it and they will tell you, I said no because that queen and that queen were there. And I knew that they were going to go for specific storylines, so I said no. Okay? The queens, they're not stupid. They're not. They might act stupid because that's their character, that's their performance, but they're not stupid people. They understand what's going on. So most of what's going on All Stars, it's heavily influenced by the cast as a whole. The way you end up, if you are in a specific bunch of queens, can drastically change if you change the queens you are competing against. So a lot of queens will give an answer based on the cast. If I was in charge of casting, for example, what I would do is secure the positions of queens who I feel like they don't have a chance, who feel like they are really waiting for the call for All Stars. They've been waiting for a long time. Possibly queens from earlier season that will surely say yes. And then once I have 3 or 4 queens like that, I will start calling queens and saying, listen, this is the cast, this is the queens that I want to get, this is the queens that I have secured. Are you interested? Yes or no? And then, call about 20 queens that I think can fit dynamics around the 4 queens that I already have. And then, see what I can get and make some minor adjustment until I end up with maximum 1 or 2 queens that I don't know what to do with. And they would usually be the first one to be sent home. Am I saying too much? Probably yes. Damien, Victoria Scone hasn't gone missing from social media or performing, so I think I missed the context for that. I'm late in reading the comments. Magnolia Crawfish. I don't think she does drag anymore. Phoenix, the only shocking thing Drag Race could do at this point is not rigging a season. Phoenix is shady as fuck. Air Tempest, I remember when I looked at spoilers for this season back in the middle of last year. Everyone was just bewildered in the comments and we didn't even know about 2 non-elimination. I don't know about that because I don't read them. But while I was researching for my video on season 12, back, I think last year, a year and a half, I was going to make a series Yes, I know. I know it never happened. But part of the research brought me to the spoiler sub. That's how I actually found out that it exists. And I saw the spoilers for season 12. They were dead on. They were dead on. Like, they have people from World of Wonder in there. I don't know if they are doing it on purpose, because I remember there used to be a time. Not there used to be a time. There was a time when some people were sued because of spoilers. You can check it. You can Google it. You will find it. So I would tend to believe that it's probably something that World of Wonder does, because it increases engagement. But they are that's why I'm so wary of spoilers. They are accurate. They are accurate. Nightmare, it's chocolate. You know, when I was in Discord last, what was it, Friday? I think I got blazing. It was like, you know what? I say it's chocolate way too much in my day life. People don't even understand it. And it was so relatable. JP, I agree that Georgina needs more time. The brute talent is there and she could kill it if she has time. Yes, that's exactly the point. Sebastian, did you notice there is a huge followers drop from past season to season 14? Half of the cast has barely 100k and Willow only has 400k as best. Why do you think is that? No, I didn't notice that there was a huge drop. Like, no, I don't. That's, you know, I'm not really that social media savvy. I don't think it's a healthy environment to be with. Honestly, if I didn't have a channel, I would not even have Twitter. And I barely use it. People that follow me can tell you that I barely use it. It's like I'm there once a week, maybe twice when it's good. So no, I didn't notice that. But if it's really what's happening, I think it's a sign that, you know, the audience are kind of losing interest. And that's a bad thing. Drag Race is a show that can go on for 1,000 seasons, if managed properly. Phoenix, I woke up this morning and said, born to do drag 3 times, and Crystal Versace and Georges appeared. Gave me the fright of my life. Oh shit, I loved how much they made fun of RuPaul for saying that. It's like the queens were savage this season, and RuPaul was like, oh yeah, they're good, they're making fun of Georgina. And they were all having a laugh at the expense of RuPaul, and that's wild when you think about it. I mean, Courtney was basically cut from the franchise because she said there is RuPaul the entertainer and RuPaul the person, and the two things don't have to necessarily agree, and she disappeared mysteriously. So I'm like, how the fuck did they manage to get away with it? It's beyond me. I mean, mad respect. Air Tempest, I always look for spoilers in most series, and the fans literally will go to their location and see who comes out of their hotel rooms. It's not, that's fucking, I believe that. Listen, I believe that. With that said, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. Damien, remember that Crystal Versace is younger than oh yeah, she's 19. Well, at least she was 19 during filming. Now she's 20. Dels Gamer, honestly, I think Alyssa Hunter could at least get to the top 5 or 6 in an all-star season, but maybe I'm biased because she's my favorite queens from this season. She's very, very polished, and I think she can have that kind of, because you remember, the first thing I said about Alyssa is that she has kind of a resting bitch face. It's not her fault, it's just that some facial expression comes more natural to some people, and they are usually interpreted as bitch facing. So she has a resting bitch face, and I think she can really work with it, you know, be channeling more her Heather kind of way of being. I'm not sure it would be a smart choice on Drag Race because you know what's been going on, But if she can match the two things, the being polished with the being catty and shady, typical of all the drag queens, that would be an interesting to see. Damien, I said born to moderate 3 times in the mirror, and Bosco gave me a visit. Hey, metalhead girl. Thank you for coming. Sebastian, I think it's because everyone got their couple iconic queens to follow and don't give a chance to new bunch. The Drag Race fame boost is slowly not becoming worth the money and strength. I will have to agree on that. Times have changed, and this is a natural consequences of drag being normalized into culture, which has its ups and it also has its lows. Depending on where, on average, I would say it's a good thing. It's an art form, and it shouldn't be just a side job for people who have the passion to do it. It's good that it has become a viable career. But as we get more and more queens, yes, of course, they're going to have less and less of an impact. It's very hard to have first times anymore. Like, I don't know, when Jinx appeared, it was a first time to see such a talented, such a comedy oriented queen with such talent for acting. So she really made a bang based on that alone. When you add the storyline on top of that, she was basically skyrocketed to fame. She made a huge impact. But now, even when you see people like Lady British, for example, it feels like it's nothing. It really feels like it's nothing because we had so many examples before. Sebastian, I think it's because everyone got their couple iconic queens to follow. Oh, I read this one. Damien, Courtney Act was mentioned in the Drag Race UK 2021 annual book. Look at the BBC taking advantage of the fact that she was on Celebrity Big Brother. Was she? Celebrity Big Brother UK? Oh, maybe I'm confusing her with somebody else. Could be, I don't remember. JP, it's more wild that the girls are making fun of Mamaru, that Mamaru is not realizing the obvious. She's getting senile. If you think those are crazy, the Amazing Race fans literally collaborate across the globe to stalk the location. Don't people have a life? I'm sorry, I don't mean it to be shady. But to check on locations, you have to go there. How do you? Don't you have to work? I mean, well, if you're young enough, yeah, maybe you just go to school. Maybe you can skip a couple of days. I don't know. It's wild to me. If you're willing to put in such effort, there are a ton of things that you can do that, can also improve your life. I don't know. It's wild to me. It's wild. Is there anyone who want to see Drag Race Season 15? George, would you like to see Aiden Zane on All Stars? Yes. Yes. I want an All Stars 1 kind of race, and I want to see Britta and Aiden together get to the top 2 together. Give me that Fantasy season. Give it to me. No, I shouldn't say it like that. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Courtney won Celebrity Big Brother. Yes, I know. I don't remember if it was the UK or the US season. I don't remember which one of the two. Damn, I should have bought something to eat. It's that time of the night. I'm starting to get hungry. Damien, it was UK. Okay. So there was a point in there. This dinner leftovers are not as good as I expected them to be. Ah. I would live for Brit and Aiden pairing being a mess. But like Nicole and Damien in Endurance 3. I don't know Endurance. Is that a game? No, probably a show. Were they trying to get each other out despite being a pair? Well, that's entertaining. I agree with you. I would love to see that. No, I want to see the evolution. I really want to see the evolution. Because Aiden really came to Drag Race with a bag of dreams. Do you remember the eggplant in Star Booty? No. And I would like not to remember it or know about it because it's not like we watched the full movie. I don't think I am mentally prepared for that. Let's not go there. What do you think? Let's skip it. Oh, Christus, oh my god. Aiden came with a bag of dreams, but she forgot the bag with her wigs. Coast girls. Do you remember? Oh my god, during the live stream of season 12, I think we were counting the times. And she was wearing the same wig. I mean, it was a gorgeous wig. I love that wig on her. But it was like I don't know. Maybe she had financial struggles. Maybe she couldn't invest on Drag Race, but she had a wig shortage. And yeah, that one wig she used it all of the time. I would love to see her entrance look with that wig. Do you think Gottmik will be on All Stars? If so, do you think she'll get rid of the God Crunch? I don't think Gottmik needs All Stars. I don't think she might actually be even interested in doing it. Gottmik is a makeup artist and a personality at this point. In a way, I'm sorry for how it sounds, but she is also a token trans man. And you know that in this era where everybody doesn't really understand the meaning of representation, they like to tokenize. So, which it's a good thing and a bad thing. It depends on how you look at it. But if you become the token trans man and you are the only one, that's good for your career. Just don't take it as kind of a personal thing. So I don't see why Gottmik would have a motivation to come back for All Stars and go through all of the hassle. So no, I don't think she would come back. Getting rid of the God Crunch? Maybe. Maybe. Damien, can you believe that it's been 2 years since season 14, episode 1? You mean 3? No, it's... What do you say? It's been 4 months. Gregory, I've binge watched the whole 4th season of La Mas Draga. If you want something refreshing, look at it. Yeah, people keep telling me. España and La Mas Draga. That it's really good. And I can tell you, Thailand was really good. People kept telling me, watch Thailand, watch Thailand, watch Thailand. And it was really good. It was. The way Alyssa has more followers than a finalist this season. Alyssa Hunter? Really? That's really good. Good on her. I'm joking. You know, there is a video here on YouTube from like a million years ago of Gottmik doing Willem's makeup. Way before season 13 even started auditioning. She had the means already very, very early on. I mean, good for her. Good for her. I'm not here to, bring down people only based on the fact that they were born with opportunities. Born with well, she was adopted. How can I say it? They were given opportunity instead of like, how can I say this without sounding it like shit? That they got easy, good opportunities? I don't know. I don't know how to say it. But it's not like she worked her ass off for 10 years in order to earn this opportunity. She had them like really easy. So there's a video of Gottmik painting Pearl's face from 2 years ago. You're right. I watched that. I remember there is a moment in which Pearl is like, what's it like to paint these famous people? And you can see in Pearl's face that she is like, well, I won't verbalize that. Watch the video, then come back and let me know what you thought about that. Tempest is the ranking in order of followers count for this season. Willow, Cornbread, Bosco, Carrie, Lady, Maddie, Georges, Angeria, Alyssa, Daya, Jasmine, Orion, June, and Deja. Deja last? I'm really surprised about that. Phoenix, I'm leaving for how the judges bring up how Bosco should have gone home except for having the gold bar. Bosco keeps thanking the Greg gods, and Rue is like, shut the fuck up. Well, it's her storyline. There's not much that you can do about that. Deja has 70.8k. Surprised me too. Yeah, surprised the shit out of me that also she has less than queens that are staying so little in the competition. I mean, that's wild. She basically went out 6th with Georgina. So I do understand the difference in there because, but still, so much difference. It's kind of crazy. Orion was the one who revealed the chocolate bar to me. Yeah, I saw it. It's nice that they let the queen spill a little bit of tea during those viewing parties. It makes everything more interesting. Yeah, Fulani, I get exactly what you mean. I agree on that. But when you compare her to June, for example, from that point of view, they are on the same level. And still, Deja has less followers. And June was the first one to go home. One stayed almost 10 episodes more than the other. That's what makes it crazy to me. Sorry, I'm eating a little. You know what I would really like? Chicken nuggets. I haven't had chicken nuggets in ages. I would love some. Phoenix, at this point, they can play musical charts to pick the winner. Musical chairs to pick the winner. As long as it's not Bosco. Just end this non-elimination season. Can you imagine, Phoenix, can you imagine if they split the finale in 2 episodes? Can you imagine that? If they had 17 episodes all along, which just nobody got it. You know, since my prediction this season have been, let's be honest, kind of a mixed bag, like a bad mixed bag. Imagine if we even fucked up the episode order, and it was really 17 episodes, except the last 2 episodes. It's a split finale. Oh shit! I don't even want to think about that. Well, now that I put the thought in your mind, you'll never get it out. Also, we have 5 queens, so in a way it kind of makes sense. That maybe we have like an episode 1 in which they send 2 queens home, and then a finale part 2 where we get the top 3. I mean, think about it. It makes sense. Shit. Chicken nuggets and lime water. Yes, but I don't have any lime water tonight. I didn't prepare it. From a moment to another, I was like, oh my god, it's 11. I am late. And you know, I swear to God, I was on time. I was on time for the live stream. But I opened the streaming page on YouTube Studio, and the dreaded window came up. The one telling me, we need to verify your account. Every time that happens, I don't know why YouTube does it. Maybe it's their way of checking out that everything is okay. Maybe it's because my computer updates from time to time. Maybe it deletes cookies. I don't know. From time to time, at least a couple of times a year, YouTube will come out with this window telling me, we need to verify that it's really you. And when that happens, it takes 15 minutes to get back access to my account, because they disable 2-factor authentication for some reason. I have no idea why they do that. So I have to go in the Google account, reset it again, and then they want email confirmation. Then they send an email to the second email. It's messy. So when that happens, I would like, oh shit. I'm not just going to be a couple of minutes late this time. I'm going to be like 15 minutes late. Then thankfully, maybe it's because it's the same IP address. They just, needed the phone verification and they got access to the account already. But for a moment, I was like, shit. Kevin, RuPaul doesn't really talk unless it's on script. I noticed this PA or someone running up to him and showed him a script. You mean like on DragCon? I mean, it's kind of sad if she has a script for DragCon as well. I mean, did you notice that Willow did the Tia Coffee move during a lip sync? Can we give it a name? Can we give it again? The first name that comes to mind would be the Smash, but then we already have the Pearl Smash. So maybe we should name it like the God Crunch and give it a name. Have you finally watched the Roscoe's viewing party with Bronco, Angeria, and Lady British? The story about why they were so horny was actually the episode you yourself mentioned it. No, I haven't watched it. What did I miss? I haven't picked up on that. I have gone into a Drag Race lockdown, something like that. I haven't watched anything Drag Race but this episode. Didn't even watch the preview. Tempest, to put in perspective the followers count, 5 queens on season 13 have more followers than the highest follower count on this season, with Mick having over triple Willow's followers count. Oh shit. Well, listen, I wouldn't go as far as thinking it has something to do with the queens. When you have franchises as big as this one that have been going on for as long as this one, usually it's the result of when you fuck up, you see it later on. It's on the season that comes the year after. Okay, there is a time delay from when you actually see the effect of you fucking up big time. So I think this is happening because they fucked up season 13. So we will have to see what happens next season. I think next season it's already going to get better, because season 14 they did a better job than season 13. Allegro, who are you rooting for, given the season has had half of the episodes as no elimination? I am rooting for the audience. Like, I feel all of you. I feel the same. No, seriously, I'm rooting for Willow. The lowest one of season 13, Tina, has more followers than everyone below Alyssa in the follower count of season 14. Tina is the least followed from season 13? This is crazy. This is crazy. Phoenix, in 2034, it'll be 90 episodes with 89 non-elimination episodes, and all of the queens will fight to the death for the win. We'll all be dead of boredom. Well, they really went overboard. They really went overboard. The knee crunch. Damien, the knee crunch. The ligament smasher. What do you think about that? Like, what's the knee ligament called? Like the crossed ligament? Also, Bosco has only 2K more followers than Joey J. That's because she hasn't come out as gay yet. That's the reason for it. I'm rooting for Candy Muse. It's what this season deserves. Phoenix, Candy Muse will come back. RuPaul will come back during the finale and say that the drag gods have called upon us for a queens to come back and fight for the crown. Candy Muse will be added to the cast. We'll have a 2-parter in a first episode with 1 top 3 and a second top 3. And then out of the 2 top 3 from this sets of 6 queens, we will get our 2 winners. Why not? One of them is Candy Muse. I mean, anything goes at this point. Whatever they do, I'm sure I will find a way to laugh about it. I will be secretly disappointed, but I will try my best not to make it show. They wasted a great cast. They really wasted them. Damien, the queens would have more followers if season 14 has stream on Netflix in the UK. Well, listen, World of Wonder as a streaming service, and comparing, taking into account that we're going through a streaming wars. That's something that's been going on for 3 or 4 years already. And the companies playing that games are giants compared to World of Wonder. Even though Drag Race is $1 billion franchise, when you compare World of Wonder to Disney, for example, there is no comparison. Disney is a giant. CBS, Viacom CBS, or Paramount, since they change name every other second, is a giant. But, World of Wonder, they're doing pretty well with their streaming service, despite the cutthroat competition. They do so because they have an exclusive on the most famous drag franchise that we have, the first drag franchise that we ever had. So that's why they keep the rights for themselves. Apart from the US, World of Wonder has the worldwide rights to every season of Drag Race. You know, they license the rights to Paramount in the US. Then when there is a spin-off, they license the right to whatever station they decide for that nation. But other than that, World of Wonder keeps the rights and exploits them on World of Wonder Plus. So it makes no sense to sell them to Netflix, for example. Why would they do that? Considering the amount of shit content that they published on WoW Plus and in general, not every single thing is shit, I'm saying in general. And it's basically carried on by Drag Race. Drag Race is basically carrying on the entirety of WoW Plus. You, even if they pay in gold, you don't just give away the rights. In the mini challenge, they had the pit crew popping the balloons. Later, one of the cast organized the tape for later, and they gave it in the hotel door to door. Each one starting with the last one finished. I don't understand what's going on. Nelson, during the finale, a lucky unknown audience member will find a golden chocolate under their seat and win season 14. UK and international season has 3 queens with more followers than Willow, the final 3, as well as Ahura, basically there. Sister also has more than Orion, June, and Deja. Well, I noticed a drop on this season, that I can tell you. Like, for example, when I did the streams, ever since I started doing the streams, what I would find is an increase in the live streams. Now, let's not count the videos, because the videos, it's something that I started doing last year, and more people are realizing that we exist, so we actually gained new viewers. But in the live stream, what I usually noticed is that we would gain people that come to the live stream over time. That's the trend that I've seen for season 12, for All Stars 5, for season 13, for All Stars 6. It would always grow a little bit more. With season 14, the opposite happens. I actually had a drop over time. So I think that might be considered an index of the fact that people started tuning out from this season. And I would understand that. It feels like a chore. Phoenix, the lack of a puppet challenge when Jasmine and Daya were right there was homophobic. WoW Presents Plus could at least add season 11-13 to their streaming service. Use a VPN. Use a VPN, Damien. There are free ones. Write me on Discord. I can suggest you one. Okay, I'm quite destroyed. I think I'm going to sleep. Are we seeing each other next Sunday? I don't know. Probably. Maybe even just for an hour to cope with the situation. And the fact that we'll probably have 2 finales, like a double parted. So we're going to see about that. Apart from that, please have a great week. Don't overwork. I can tell you that much. And maybe I'll see you on Discord if anyone decides to join. And I will take on the suggestion of coming to edit on Discord. And let's see what happens. If you see that I started publishing the older episodes, you know that I'm kind of getting out of this, and let's hope that I didn't fuck up the channel too much, because the algorithm is absolutely unforgiving. When you stop publishing for 2 or 3 weeks, it's become savage. Nevertheless, I'll see you back on Sunday. I'll see you back on Discord. Twitter, not so much, because I am forgetting I have a Twitter account. Thank you so much for coming, and I will see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.